I was always told there were sort of cameras all scattered around Harrods in the ladies' loos and all sorts of things like that.
Harrods boss Mohammed Al Fayed has been accused of raping 5 women and sexually abusing at least 15 others when they worked at the luxury department store. A BBC investigation claims Harrods covered up the abuse. Statement from the Metropolitan Police just breaking now, saying the Met are aware of the sexual assault allegations on that investigation. Let's just hear part of the claim that's been made, and it is difficult testimony, I warn you to listen to.
So I wasn't at home, I was in France, and he had come upstairs into my room. I was absolutely terrified, got into bed with me, was trying to kiss me and push himself on me, and I don't know how I did it. I just kicked him off. I kicked and screamed, and again, I got him off. I was just terrified.
Well, in a statement, Harrods have said the Harrods of today is a very different organisation to the one owned and controlled by Al Fayed. Seeks to put the welfare of employees at the heart of everything we do. The victims reportedly came forward after seeing Fayed sympathetically portrayed in the Netflix series The Crown. We can talk now to Hugo Vickers, who met Al Fayed multiple times. He's a biographer, royal expert. Hello to you, Hugo.
Hello, good afternoon.
Welcome. Tell me your thoughts on these allegations. What did you make of them? Were you surprised?
I wasn't in the least surprised, no, because I'd always heard these rumours and stories, and also had what you might call the misfortune to meet him. So I knew the way he talked, I knew the way he approached life and the things that he said. I'm not sure how much I can say on the on the radio, but he was very vulgar, basically.
Well, I mean, judging by what the investigation is suggesting, he would be a prolific predator, wouldn't he? 20 female employees assaulted or raped.
Well, yes. I mean, I don't know if it's true or not, but I was always told there were sort of cameras all scattered around Harrods in the ladies' loos and all sorts of things like that. But these are just allegations. But I mean, I'm very surprised that people aren't more, people are surprised by this, because it was such an obvious case, and he that's the sort of person he was, I'm afraid.
An obvious case. I mean, we can remember past cases. One comes to mind. I mean, Jimmy Savile, who we know was the subject of rumours and talked long before the extent of his wrongdoing emerged. And you're saying there were signs where Al Fayed was concerned.
Yes, but I think the thing that was that I think he was a very dangerous litigant, and I think people obviously were too terrified to attack him. I mean, he would come after people with bundles of money. I mean, he would do all those different sort of things. I mean, I came across him originally because I was asked to write a book about the Duke and Duchess of Windsor's house in Paris, and he had taken a lease on that. He was sort of buying into the story. He thought that was a way into the establishment. In fact, all he did was to sort of buy into the story of the abdication, so it didn't really work. But he restored the house, and he was so rude about the Windsors, the way he spoke about them, that you needed Michael Cole, his PR man, to convert what he said into Mohammed Fayed's great love and devotion for the greatest love story of the 20th century. That's not the way he spoke about it.
No, from what you're saying so far, I mean, you met Al Fayed. To that extent, you knew him a little bit, and you're suggesting that was not a pleasant experience. I mean, tell us more about that.
No, well, it was this sort of vulgarity of the man. I mean, I just remember at one point in the Duchess of Windsor's drawing room, Michael Cole was there, and he sort of said, I'm Mohammed's whipping boy, and he sort of turned over and flicked the back of his jacket up, and Fayed sort of kicked him in the backside, gently. And I just thought, goodness me, this is not exactly what one thought about that particularly rather elegant house and the way they lived. The other thing, of course, that he did was to buy into the Windsor Horse Show. He was sponsoring that because he liked to be seen walking alongside the Queen, because she loved the Windsor Horse Show. But they saw through him in due course, and they stopped him sponsoring that anymore. And then, of course, he also latched onto the Princess of Wales, which was most unfortunate because, of course, by that stage, when she was separated from and divorced from Prince Charles, she had come used to yachts and private helicopters and planes and things to take them around. That's what happens. And I remember thinking in the summer of 1997, well, whatever else one thinks about the Fayeds, at least they'll be able to protect her. But of course they didn't, because it was his car, his son, his hotel, his chauffeur, his apartment that they were going to. I mean, eventually, I mean, basically, he was responsible for her death.
Yeah,
No question about it.
this is a pretty grisly picture that you paint. But you say in the royal household, they saw through Al Fayed. That's the point you're making there.
Oh, yes. Well, they realized what he was up to, and eventually they stopped that. And then, of course, as you probably remember, he took all the royal warrants off the side of Harrods. They were by appointment to the Queen and so forth. He took them down and put up his own sort of coat of arms on the building. It was a pretty unpleasant business, really. I mean, I just don't know how far you want me to go with all this, because he was so vulgar, the things that he said. I mean, at one point, okay, I think it's probably acceptable to say this. He wanted me to write a book about the Ritz in Paris, and he said, well, you go over there, you stay in the hotel, you want girl, you ask the hall porter, and more than that, he said as well.
Right. Okay. Well, I mean, from what you said, it is still a pretty vivid illustration. Hugo Vickers, thank you for joining us on the programme this afternoon.